What's up, guys? So in this video, we're going to talk about ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is something that most of you have probably heard a fair amount about by now, especially if you've been kicking around on social media, YouTube, etc. It's a very highly covered supplement. Now, its primary use in the health and fitness industry is the reduction of the effects of stress on the body. Cortisol, your stress hormone, which is a natural response to a dangerous situation, unfortunately for most of us these days is chronically high, and it becomes a very, very negative thing. Ashwagandha is part of a group of herbs called adaptogenic herbs, and they are going to help reduce the effects of stress, reduce the effects of cortisol, or the release of cortisol within or on the body. So it's very, very useful. However, there are some kind of caveats with that, which we'll go into later. So if we look at the primary benefits of ashwagandha, number one, it's reducing the effects of stress on the body. Now, that alone has a massive, massive, massive knock-on effect to loads of other things that are occurring within your body. The less stressed you are on very, very many levels, the better, because that's going to reduce inflammation. It's going to help you become more insulin sensitive, or you can use your carbohydrates better. It's going to help you to build muscle faster. It's going to help you to burn fat faster. It's going to help you feel better, sleep better, work better, fuck better, you name it. So reducing the effects of stress, or reducing the stresses within your life, is obviously the ideal situation. But reducing the effects of stress on your body should really be a priority for everybody, okay? Very, very, very important. Now, second thing it does, it helps to reduce inflammation. Now, to understand what inflammation is, if you were stung by a bee, the easiest way to think about inflammation is this. If you were stung by a bee, that localized area, that acute spot will swell up. It will become inflamed, okay? The cells are reacting to damage or poison or something bad that has happened in order to try to protect that area so it can heal and recover. Now, systemic inflammation is when essentially that very visual response is starting to happen across the entire body. All of the cells are reacting because your lifestyle may be bad, the environment may be bad, your stress hormones are high. So you are constantly essentially swollen, under attack, and have some form of immune response to a poor lifestyle choices, stress, training stress, whatever it may be. Ashwagandha helps to reduce that. It's also a great antioxidant. Now, to understand, we hear this thrown around quite a lot. Antioxidant, what is an antioxidant? Essentially, your body is oxidizing. What that means is it's rusting, basically. There are a lot of free radicals, there are a lot of things bouncing around your body, waste products that can actually start to damage the tissues if their buildup becomes too great, if it's too high. This is one of the effects of overtraining, for example. If you train too much, you have a lot of free radicals kicking around your system, your body begins to oxidize quicker. We essentially age more quickly, the cells break down more quickly, which we don't want. So by taking a good, strong, powerful antioxidant like ashwagandha, essentially we're reducing our body's rate of essentially rusting. Imagine you're a robot and it's going to reduce the rate or the chances of you rusting. So you can see ashwagandha is a really, really useful supplement. It reduces stress, reduces inflammation, reduces oxidization. It does a bunch of other stuff as a result of those things. Now, one of the things that the majority of you are going to have come across it with is testosterone boosting. It's great for testosterone. Again, that kind of comes back to its effects on cortisol. Now, the same is true for females. It's going to help to elevate your testosterone, which is going to make you train better. It's going to make you more assertive. It's going to make you feel better. Potentially, it's going to make your sex drive significantly higher. But it also has positive effects on your estrogen. It can have very positive effects on things like PCOS in its stress reduction form. So the reason being is that your body has something called pregnenolone, and pregnenolone is kind of like a master hormone. It's a central hormone that all of the other hormones will take from. Now, because cortisol itself, specifically your stress hormone, is kind of like it's a lifesaver hormone is the way to think about it. If we took away all of this luxury, my chair, my computer, the building, etc., and we went back to year dot, a stress response would be, tiger walks into the cave. My choice here, in order to survive, is to fight it or run. It would elevate my cortisol, my heart rate would speed up, my brain would fill with blood in order to help me think and react faster, my vision would sharpen, my muscles would get slightly stronger and quicker for that period of time in order to allow me to react or run away. Once the danger is gone, the idea is that that mechanism shuts itself back down and settles. So the response to stress is acute and focused and only lasts as long as required. The problem is these days we are chronically stressed. So cortisol, which is supposed to be a short-term hormone, it's supposed to bump up. It takes all of the substrates and everything else from all of the other hormones because it says, listen, I'm here to keep us alive for this next 10 minutes. get rid of everything else we don't need, give it all to me, give me all of your energy, and then I'll go super Saiyan on whatever this danger is. Now the problem is when we're chronically elevated with our cortisol, that becomes a big issue because all of those other things that need some of this pregnenolone, they're all taking little bits in order to make themselves and blah, blah, blah. When cortisol is high, it says, I need all of this, bam, 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 bam. So it's stealing pregnenolone, which means you can't take any for testosterone production or estrogen production or any of these types of things. Your other hormones fall by the wayside because cortisol takes priority because it's a survival hormone. Now, when that's chronically high, obviously all of our other hormones start to fall. Ashwagandha, by helping to reduce the stress response and reduce the effects of stress on the body and all the other things we've already gone through, helps to elevate testosterone and regulate various other hormones that way. So it's super, super, super useful. Now, although it sounds like a wonder supplement, as I've just mentioned, the stress hormone itself or the stress response is a necessary response. It helps to protect you. The issue is that it's chronically high. So when we're dosing with something like ashwagandha, it's important to take the right amount, which is going to be for most people around 500 milligrams a day, give or take. It's going to have huge amounts of health benefits from there, largely because of its effects on the stress hormones and the body's response to stress. But what you probably want to do is do maybe 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, or 4 weeks on, 2 weeks off. You do not want to long-term shut off that stress response. So ashwagandha has a huge amount of benefits, really, really positive benefits. Take about 500 milligrams per day seems to be around optimal. You can take more, but obviously it may start to irritate your gut. You can have other negative effects, not significant, but it may happen. 500 milligrams per day, and then cycle on probably 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, or 4 weeks on, 2 weeks off if you have a particularly high stress lifestyle, or you're training a lot, or you have a high stress job, or a lot of emotional stress with your family, etc., etc. Alternatively, if you don't feel like you're carrying that much stress, but you still want the benefits of it, you can take ashwagandha, you can add it into your supplements regime at times when you know you are stressed. At certain times of the month, certain times of the year, certain times of the week, not necessarily a week, it's probably a bit too acute, but you can add in ashwagandha into your supplements protocols, and that's going to help to reduce stress at those times when you're feeling maybe a little bit overwhelmed, you're feeling like you can't rest properly, maybe you're feeling like you can't recover from your training, maybe your sex drive is starting to dip. Ashwagandha would be a good option to put in then. Okay, so great, great, great supplement. 500 milligrams per day. It's important to cycle on and off it. And this is especially true, taking this supplement is especially true for those of you with anxiety. It can be amazing for those of you who suffer with anxiety. So check it out, take a look. With regards to recommendations of what type of supplement, that's going to be dependent on where you are in the world. But what I would say is don't always go for the cheapest. When it comes to supplements, don't go for the cheapest, because generally that's a mistake. It's a bad idea. Never works out well. Ashwagandha in a nutshell.